good evening, and welcome to another edition of Life is People. Well, tonight I'm very honoured to be joined by someone I've been wanting to talk to in person really for many years, since we first connected at a Sydney's gig back in 2019, 18, I think it probably was. But any further ado, how you doing tonight, Ben?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm feeling good. Feeling ready. Really excited to talk to you, man. It's been a while.
It has been a while, so let's start this at the sort of like the very sort of, I think, best step to start this at. Where did all this journey into music start from?
For me, I mean, I've always kind of been infatuated by music. It's always been around my house since a young age, really. But to play it, when I was 13, I picked up drums, started a band with a few friends, like a metalcore band. That was like the music that we were into at the time. And yeah, since then, I don't know, I've just never really let go of it. It's always just kind of been like a saving grace for me throughout my life. Yeah. But
No, I can't let this go. So again, you're another person who's starting on drums. So tell me more about that, my friend.
I don't know. I think, yeah, a big thing with music that infatuated me the most is like rhythm. It's always been that, more than melody, I guess, which is kind of strange. But yeah, my dad wanted me to pick up guitar, but I was like, no, I want to play drums. I want to play drums. I don't know. It just stuck out to me. And I was the only guy to play drums like in my friendship group. So it was like, yeah, I was the obvious choice for the band as well. That kind of influenced the decision, I think, a little bit when I was younger. But
so from that, did you actually have an actual drum kit in your house, or a studio, or some rehearsal studio, or what?
yeah. So yeah, I was fortunate enough. My mum, oh well, I started drum lessons, and my drum teacher actually had like a kit for sale, and we had like a garage space. So my mum bought me a drum kit for Christmas and put it in my garage space, and I was just on it every day, getting noise complaints from the neighbors, like just always just bashing it and trying to get better. And then being in a band as well, like making music with people, kind of pushes you to want to be better at your instrument, I think. So I was just constantly, we would practice every week, and after that I'd be constantly learning songs and, you know, just trying to get better.
So you mentioned learning songs. What kind of songs were you sort of learning on the drums?
Mainly like rock and metal. So I started off with just like a single kick pedal, and then I was really into metalcore, and they all use like double kick pedals, which is like the double, yeah. And I went and bought one of them with some money I'd saved up, and yeah, just like bands of the time. So like Asking Alexandria was one that I was really into. Attack, people like this who, yeah, just big sounds, fast. Yeah. But my drum teacher kind of started me off basics with like basic rock songs, and then like some Jimi Hendrix songs, and just to get, I don't know, just to get used to like rhythms and patterns and moving your arms about and that. But yeah.
Would you say then, because I mean it's an interesting sort of line to go down, would you say that learning sort of metal rock drumming is a good sort of step into learning drums, or?
I guess I think it's all just down to what you're into, really. Like,
Right.
the best step is just to go for what you like, because that's going to push your passion in the right direction. But yeah, in terms of like getting better quick, it helped me because they're like quite technical, fast rhythms and schemes, really. So yeah, it helped me a lot getting better fast. But I mean, yeah, if you're not really into metal, I wouldn't say learn metal first, I guess. If you're into pop, then learn pop. Like, that's yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I have heard that repeated to me quite a few times, that regarding sort of drumming and metal and rock and stuff, it's very technical, because like I say, just that double pedal alone is quite a skill to learn.
Yeah. It's a strange one. Yeah, you kind of have to retrain your mind in a way, I guess. But yeah, I haven't played drums in so long though. I'm probably terrible now, but yeah, that's where I started off anyway.
So what was the name of that band, that garage band you had, all that sort?
Before Last Night, which is like a really cringy name, I think, but yeah, it was like, have you heard of a band called Enter Shikari?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they're like that, like synth influenced metal sort of idea. That's what we were going for. So we had, like, our vocalist had bought like loads of synth equipment. We had like, yeah, backing tracks and mixed with guitars and yeah, auto tune singing and all sorts of stuff. It was
And
fun,
did you
man.
have many gigs?
Yeah, we played quite a few, to be fair. We supported some like bands at the O2 Academy in Newcastle a few times. Um, yeah, like started off with pub gigs, but yeah, we kind of gained a little bit of traction. Not a huge. We didn't tour or anything, but we were only young. But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun time.
So you sort of kind of give an overview of that. So what was the next sort of step from that then?
And so that band broke up. Just for, I mean, I'm still friends with all. They're like my best friends still, but we just had different paths in life, I guess. We were all like going to college and stuff, or going down different routes. Like I never took a break from music, but I wasn't like putting anything out, or I kind of took the opportunity to learn something new. So I picked up the guitar from there, and I wanted to just learn how to. But I kind of approached that a bit different to drums. I never like learned a song on guitar. Just put my hands in a place where I thought sounded good, if that makes sense. I don't know, like I never learned proper chords or anything. Like, well, I learned like a few off my friends who play guitar, but yeah, I just like started writing songs on guitar, like just very basic stuff and writing lyrics. Well, that was the first time I started like writing lyrics really. But yeah, I was into um, like twinkly Midwest emo sort of stuff. They used a lot of like acoustic guitars and stuff like that, and like just like very emotional, kind of reflected how I was feeling at the time, I guess too. But yeah, very emotional lyrics and stuff, and I just yeah, that's what I was going for at that time, and I didn't put any of that out, but I practiced it and I wrote some songs, and they're still kind of in the backlog, maybe for another time, but we'll see. But yeah, yeah, that I progressed into that next.
So again, before we sort of put a sort of put a pin here and discuss this a bit more. I mean, did you pick up an electric or an acoustic?
Acoustic first, yeah. Yeah, so the idea was just to write some like acoustic songs, just me. I'd never done that before. I'd always been in bands, and I kind of wanted to explore the idea of it just being me doing everything, sort of thing. I guess like pushing forward, that's why I'm doing the stuff that I'm doing today. But yeah, I just explored that. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed creating by myself, controlling it at all. I ended up actually bringing the guitarist from the band in as well, and we did like a little bit of a duo thing. Obviously, nothing's been released, but he was on electric, I was on acoustic. He would play like high twinkly riffs, and I'd play the chords and do singing.
So, so, so on the series, I'm fascinated by this. So you got the acoustic guitar, you're writing your first sort of lyrics. Can you remember what in that process, that time, what came first? Was it you kind of had a little riff or a little, and you thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna put some lyrics over that, or did you have lyrics and think, oh, no, I want to put something over that musically?
No, it was definitely, it started on the guitar. Yeah, I would like write like chord sequences or little riffs or yeah, whatever, and then and then I'd write it so it'd be like, I don't know, like a 2.5 minute, 3 minute piece, and I'd be like, okay, well, I want to put some lyrics over this now. But yeah, that it always started with the music, I think.
And can you remember the first lyrics you wrote? Roughly,
Oh,
what the subject was about?
probably just really dark, deep stuff about feeling like I hate myself and the world. I guess that was probably like teen angst. But yeah, I think I was like, yeah, on a bit of a more serious note, I think like I've always kind of struggled with mental health stuff. And that was the first time I'd like kind of realized that it wasn't just like feeling sad. I don't know, like depression, if you want to call it that, or whatever you call it. But I think that was when I was first starting to like realize myself and realize that, yeah, like I'm not okay, I guess. And not everybody feels like this. That's how it feels. But yeah, yeah. So the lyrics kind of reflected that, I guess. They were very like personal, emotional, probably cringy though, looking back, but yeah.
Well, it's fascinating you say this, Ben, because I've always considered that. I mean, it's interesting because we can look with the hindsight and the knowledge we've got today and say, like you just said, it's depression or it's actually something inside, it's actual chemicals or whatever it may be. But if you go back to the roots of things, the blues and stuff like that, it's always been there. I think there's always been this human condition of particularly men finding it hard to sort of find their place in this greater world. And
No,
I think that lyrics and writing stuff and music has always been, for want of a better word, therapy for particularly men to sort of express themselves in a way that's they find comfortable. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think, yeah, it just kind of came naturally to me and at that young age to express myself that way because I found it hard to express myself through the medium of conversation. But yeah, you're completely right. Like looking at other artists that I was into as well, that was like their therapy, I guess. And like, yeah, throughout the ages, throughout musical history, throughout creative history, there's always been that, yeah, that therapeutic side of creating, I guess. I think like anybody as a creative feels that in whatever they do, or the creatives that I've spoken to anyway.
I completely agree with you. I mean, like I said before, I mean, I got into art solely because of having that feeling of feeling disjointed in the world, and it kind of expressed myself through art, and again through music, and again through metal. It's very kind of the same sort of similar part, a little bit parallel, really, because
yeah.
I think a lot of things. I think it's unsort of spoken about that. I think particularly when you're, I don't know. I think when you the teenage years kick in as a male, you find it hard because you're trying to find your place in this world, and you sort of think, I'm being pumped for all this, this stuff that I should be doing, I should be liking, and you soon find you're like, oh, okay, I'm not in that. And it's finding that expression, I think, is the key can really help. I think it's a really good thing to sort of encourage people to do and go down their own path and be brave enough to do, which sounds like you did.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. I think as well, I guess I can only speak from like my experience, but yeah, the education system, and maybe particularly in the Northeast too, because that's where I'm from. It doesn't, there's no, I don't know, it's very like rudiment, it's very like boxed in. There's no like pathways to, break out, express yourself. And there's no encouragement for that really either. That's how I felt when I was growing up. Like I was kind of like discouraged from doing that through peer groups, through, education, everything. You're kind of expected to be something, and if you're not that, then so what? Like, I don't know. There's no, we can't help you, sort of thing. Like, if you're not that, then all right, see you in a bit. I guess you've got to be brave, but yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I think brave, like you said, brave in both senses, brave like you've just quite alluded to. I mean, that's never changed. I mean, I grew up down south and it's exactly the same. So I think this is a general condition of how we've been, maybe we go back and discuss how many decades we've been in, but I think it's always been the same thing. I think so. What I think also brave is, not the bravery to sort of like try it out, but I think one of the bravest things to do, and this is why I was alluding to what you were doing, is actually to sit down that moment and think, right, okay, I'm going to have a guitar, I'm going to write, and I'm going to express myself and put it out there, because there's one thing keeping it in your mind, but it's the bravery of like, okay, I'm actually going to try to externalize that thought process, that theme is in my head, onto a piece of paper. Then it's going to be that's a brave step for any person to do, whether regardless of whether it is or not.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, definitely. I think so. But I don't know, like, if I believe that everybody has the capability to touch into creativity, but if you're like a creative person, I think it doesn't feel brave. It feels like the only thing you can do ever with your life. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a need, it's a must. It's not like, you have to, otherwise you're going to explode. I know that's like very, but like, Yeah, I don't know. I think it's brave. It definitely is brave,
I,
but
I,
it
I
doesn't feel brave from the creative. It is just it has to happen. It's gonna happen. It will happen.
no, Ben, I totally concur with what you're saying. I think you're saying then about you're going to explode. I think it's essential sometimes that I put it down. Even if I'll draw stuff, I'll write stuff, I'll have bits and pieces, and I'm sure you're exactly the same.
Mm.
Music and stuff, and you never, no one's ever going to hear it, but it needs to come out of yourself.
Yeah,
If
100%.
not, it's sitting there brewing and brewing inside yourself. And I find it quite cathartic, even if I just put something down and no one ever sees it, but just the fact it's been put out. I
Oh,
find
100%.
personally, I don't know how you feel.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Yeah, and I think every like creative person that I've spoke to feels the exact same way. Like it's like I say, it's a need, it's a must. It has to come out, and that's the therapy of it.
Yeah, which is something I mean, it's not my control, it's not in your control in that sense, but I think that message needs to really sort of be rung clearly in this world because,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
like you say, it's an interesting. You can have a debate whether everybody's got the creative element inside them. That's a whole other debate. But,
Yeah.
but I do sort of think that there's a need to at least get it out to people that even if no one's going to see it, please do this because I'm sure, I don't know if you had the misfortune, but when you see close friends die, and you think all it needed was just to express that in some way that it may have helped. It may have not. I mean, who knows? But these are the crucial things that I try to sort of hope that conversations like this, even just one person just takes that message and thinks, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit in my room tonight and just do something because.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we're kind of drifting away from tangent off the point here. So we've gone from your garage band, you've gone to you picking up the acoustics. So where was the next step?
I started getting into rap like a lot after that. I think so the new people around them were like ASAP Rocky, Tyler the Creator. I was always into like American rap. I mean, I was into like Eminem from a young age. My friend showed me Eminem, and I was like, "What is this craziness? He's saying all this mad stuff. Oh no, I can't let my mum hear." That's all I do. But yeah, I started really getting into like just rap, the intricacies of the lyricism, but also the musicality of it, because I'd always been heavily into like bands and like real instruments like guitars, drums, bass, guitars, and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, just something resonated with me. I think that when they first started coming out, like Tyler the Creator, ASAP Rocky, like ASAP Mob, all them, they kind of had like a punk attitude to them as well, and I've always liked being into that, and that resonated with me, not only musically but like, oh, I really like this. Like this is the new thing. I want to be into this. So yeah, because of that, I thought, okay, well, I've been writing lyrics. I'm going to start writing raps now. I want to try and rap. I like the way it sounds. Let's have a go. So I did. So I wrote some raps. Me and my friend used to sit and like take 10 minutes and write our best like 16 bar rap, and then spit it to each other over like beats that we found on YouTube, and be like, oh. And then one day I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to record it and put it on SoundCloud. Why not? And I think all of my friends thought I was I was just a crazy. What are you doing? Like, you're a northeastern boy, white boy. Like, why are you trying to rap? Like, nobody does that from around here. And I was like, I don't know. It comes back to the creativity thing. Like, I just wanted to, so I did it. And nobody like listened to it really, but yeah, it was just good. And I was like, oh, I like it. And I want, again, with drums and with guitar, when I pick something up, I want to get better at it. That's just what I always want to do. That I always want to continue to try and better my skill set. So I just went down that route, and I've been doing that, I guess, now for like 6 years, just trying to do the same thing. Not the same thing, but yeah.
So what would you say from your experience then? Because I'm fascinated by this. What would you say from your experience is the difference between writing a lyric over an acoustic guitar to writing rap?
I guess at first it felt completely different because I was trying to capture the intricacies of like rhyme schemes and trying to find the pockets in a beat rather than just be totally emotional. When I first started writing lyrics over like guitar, I wasn't really bothered about like rhyming or anything. It was just about feelings on a page, I think. When I first started rapping, I kind of wasn't bothered about feelings. I just wanted to write like rhymes, things, and say things that were like, I don't know, different or whatever. But I guess as my journey progressed through like making rap music, those things kind of coincided. So I got back to like being a bit more emotional with it. But yeah, I guess that's the difference.
Okay, so I mean, because you alluded to there that you're obviously sitting down, and you and your friend was obviously sitting there and writing, like you say, 16-bar raps and stuff like that. But so is that literally you're just sitting there with a pen and paper writing this stuff down, spitting between you two, and then finding a beat, not finding a beat, and then it's an interesting sort of way around.
Yeah. Well, so it'd be. Sometimes it'd be that way. Sometimes it'd be over a beat. We'd put a beat on and then write the 16-bar raps. But yeah, sometimes it was just there was no beat, there was no speaker. We were just like sat, I don't know, in like a park or something, and we just get our phones out and quickly write these bars, these rhyme schemes, and then yeah, just say them to each other and be like gas each other up, like that line you said there was unreal, like blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of strange, but that's just what we did for fun, I guess. It's probably good to mention that we were smoking a lot of weed at the time too, so maybe we were just all over the place. But yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. On that, I mean, is there any? I mean, you said you put it up on SoundCloud and you put, you know, do you ever go back and listen to any of that? And what's your thought process, or you go back and listen to it? What you do?
Yeah, I listen to it sometimes. I mean, it's kind of cringy to listen to, but also it's kind of cool. It's like nostalgic, I guess. Like to put myself back in that place and think, oh right, and now comparing what I do now, I don't know, I like put a lot more care and attention into what I do now, so it feels like, oh, that's where that came from. I understand that, and that's nice to like look back on. But overall, it's pretty cringy, yeah.
So, was it on this sort of pathway that it was the beginnings and the formation of HNOODLE?
Yeah. That was like the start of it. Yeah, 100%. That, in fact, yeah, that's what I came up with that name while we were doing this like back-to-back 16-bar thing. We both, I can't remember my friend's name, but yeah, I was like, oh, I need a name. What should be my name? And like, we were smoking lots of weed, like I said, so Kush, and then my favorite food was noodles, and I was like, okay, just put them together. That sounds pretty cool.
It's fascinating because I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this, maybe you're aware or not, but what I love particularly, regardless of what I'm going to talk to you about musically about HNOODLE in a minute, but one of the things I've always loved about HNOODLE, the first time I sort of looked, you know, understood you doing that. If you go onto Google and you type HNOODLE, it comes up with there are no searches, and I thought you're one of them heroic people that you can't find. You're just like, you don't understand. Do you mean this? Do you mean that? And I'm like, no, it's got a great sort of thing. So, I mean, was it you in that process of decided to do it KV, you know, $ at H or?
Yeah. So the $ came from because I was really into ASAP Rocky. Their like thing is the S in ASAP is a $. So I was like, that's cool. I like that. I don't know. I just thought I don't want it to just be HNOODLE. I've always liked to play with like words and stuff. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, everyone thinks it's Cash Noodle too. Like new people still think it's Cash because the upside down, the V in ASAP as well is like an upside down A sometimes. So yeah, but yeah, I don't really know why I chose that, to be honest. It was like a split-second decision. Like, yeah, I don't want it to just say that. Oh, that looks cool. Okay, cool. And then I made the SoundCloud, and then That was it. I don't know, like not much thought went into it really.
And yeah, like I'm saying, but so the first time you sort of come, you started sort of the HNOODLE sort of thing. When you started doing that, did you have a set of a set of raps already there, or was it kind of like, oh, this is what we're going to do, and now we're going to sort of find our own path?
It's always kind of just been like an experiment. So it started because I recorded that rap that I wrote, like a full like 3-minute rap song. It's not really, it's just over like a beat that I found on YouTube, and I recorded it on a MacBook microphone. And I like was listening to it back, and I was like, I'm just going to put it online. That name is the name that we came up with, like me and my friend, for me. I'm just going to put it out. And I think I've always since then, I've always treated HNOODLE like that. Like there's never been like this is the path that I want to go down. It's always just been like, I want to try this now. I want to try this now. I'm going to try this. And it's always just been that like experimental, split-second decision, which I kind of like. But it has its drawbacks, I think, in terms of like rollouts and, you know, like industry ideals, which I guess doesn't really matter. It's always just been about the creativity. But yeah, it's always just been an experiment, just really, and it still is to this day, I guess.
So, on that very point again, which again you're dropping these bombs into this conversation. You're saying on the rollout with the industry. So people who maybe not know that, what is that actually? What are you trying to allude to there?
So like industry, I guess, if you want, there's a point in being a creative that if you want to, especially in music, if you want to put out your music to an audience, there's certain like ways you need to try and do it so that people see it, because the internet's so big that you can't just scream into the void, I guess, in a way. So a lot of people, I guess, like for instance, an album rollout, you'll have an album, but you won't just have an album, you'll have all of the marketing tools that go with it, like interviews and press stuff that you can do depending on how far into the industry you are. Then you got tours. Like it's not just about creating the music. It's, to some people, I don't know, well, to everyone, I guess, if you want to like make a living out of being a musician, you kind of have to think about that. But yeah, I don't know.
I know. I think it's fascinating, because there's always been what you could call the mainstream industry of music, and then particularly where you sort of started off. I mean, metal generally has never been a mainstream one.
Oh no,
rap has never really, even rap hasn't been a mainstream one. I know it's there in the mainstream now, but these forms always started on the outskirts and then moved in. But what I find fascinating is, particularly now, I mean obviously I work alongside with even just the Demons, and the industry almost changes on a monthly basis. I think sometimes I hear numbers and you sort of sit there and contemplate and think how many people are just signing up to YouTube or to Spotify on a daily basis. So it's like it's this an overwhelming torrent of people coming in, and you've got to find a niche in that.
It's
hard, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's strange because it makes, like, technology and that sort of idea of the internet makes like the creation a lot easier than it used to be, in terms of like, you don't have to pay for studio time now. You can get a laptop and make your own stuff. You don't have to pitch your demo to a label for it to go out. You can literally just put it on the internet and then it's out there, and people can actually find it in theory. But then that also makes the industry so like overwhelmed with people who make music that it's almost a little bit harder to find your niche, and you've got nobody to help you in a way, I guess. You're doing it yourself. I don't know. Yeah, it's good and bad. I think out of that, some of the best like underground music has come out of that and has had a chance to see an audience that it might not have seen in the past, which is really cool. But yeah, it's mad. It's really crazy.
I mean, I agree with you, but again, I mean, sort of like alludes back to what I was saying about the blues. I mean, if you think about it, there's some things that are literally nothing is new under the sun. I mean, when
Yeah,
they were doing the blues stuff back in the day, you could go to your local town, there'd be a shop there, you could walk in, sing your song onto the recorder, and you could walk out with a vinyl because that was, it
yeah,
was so,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the opportunity's always been there, but like you say, the industry's just ballooned beyond belief now. It's just
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
overwhelming and everywhere. But in that, you do find, I think there's sort of certain constants. I think if you really wanted to progress in anything in life, you've got to basically get people behind you who are kind of like liking what you're doing, and
Mhm.
particularly for musicians and stuff like that. I mean, I think that it's never really changed. You've got to go out there. You've got to play a gig, and
Yeah.
build up your audience that way. I mean, there is no shortcut to it. Well, maybe there
No,
is.
no, no.
Generally, that's the kind of path most musicians and bands have got to go down.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that kind of never changes, especially the live aspect of it. I think that's like there's nothing, you can't connect with a person the same way over the internet as you can of them just listening to your song as you can if they're in a crowd and you're playing your song to them. There's like it's not, you can't recreate it. Not even, I don't even think in like a live stream scenario, you know, when people do like live stream gigs, it's not the same still. You don't feel the energy, the vibe, the expression. Like it's a complete, yeah, you can't beat that really for like finding an audience, and I don't think that'll ever change.
No, I agree with you completely. Just on that one alone, I mean, I was about to say, you know, obviously COVID in 2019, 2020,
Yeah.
and 2021 hit. But one of the things that's done that alone, I mean, one of the things I've always, of the many things I respect and love the Demons for, was they were like, I remember saying to me at the beginning of this, you know, all the lockdowns came and said, we are never going to do a online stream gig. I'm like, yes, yes. No, because I mean, you're right. I think, as much as it's been hard, I find people who do it. I mean, don't get me wrong, loads and loads of people and bands I love all did it, and I just find it like, no, there's a disconnect there. I'd rather you not do it than put something out online, just this fake gig of you in your front room. It's kind of like,
Yeah, strange. Yeah. I think especially the Demons as well, like their performance is so expressive and emotional that it requires that audience. Do you know what I mean? Like them or just on a screen, it's never going to be the same. And that's really cool that they decided not to do that, because I don't think it would have worked in their favor really, which is okay. That's good to accept. But yeah,
it's. I mean, on that one, on that, if I was to sort of say to you, Ben, again, because I think it's one of the things that most people who aren't into sort of music at a creative level or anything, everyone knows what's gone on the last 2 years with COVID and the lockdowns and stuff like that. But if I was to say to you, go on then, give me one sentence of what, you know, if, say 2020, 2019, 2021. I mean, what's it been like for you? You know, all the lockdowns and what you just alluded to with live gigs and trying to sort of progress. I mean, how's it been for you?
it's been, yeah, in terms of creativity, I felt like it was really good at the start, because I was like, right, now I've got an excuse. I can just sit in my room all day, every day and make music. That's great. But then what I realized after a few months is that kind of sends you stir crazy because you're not being able to take it out there, you know, talk to people. In terms of life though, like it's kind of been good in a way. It's been, yeah, I don't know. I moved in the middle of a lockdown to London from the northeast for a reason, which is probably the best thing that's happened to me in recent years. Yeah, I feel like I'm a bit more in touch with my mental state now as well, because I had a lot of time to reflect. But yeah, it was hard, but it was also good. I don't know, it's just life, isn't it? Yin yang idea. everything bad comes with a good. So yeah.
But it was something we were talking, you know, offline the other day, and you know, we were discussing about London, because I obviously just come back touring London, and I found it, honestly, I found it a bit of a head spin. It was like,
Yeah.
but then and I've been contemplating for like, since you mentioned this. I spent days sort of sitting there toiling with my man, and it's one of the, I don't know, such a insightful thing you said, or very erudite that you said when you said, I love the anonymity. I love the fact that, you know, all the things that I would find hard, that people aren't giving me eye contact, that people aren't.
Yeah.
Kind of, you said you're quite thrived on that. So fascinating. I think it was a very fascinating and enlightening thing you said. But I don't know, maybe expand on that more. What particularly do you like about being anonymous in London? What is it particularly you like?
I like that you can literally be anyone, which is to me yourself, and you're not. So where I come from, it's a very small town in the northeast, and you be yourself. Yeah, that's fine, but you're gonna get looks. You might get comments. You're gonna get like, 80% of the people on the street when you walk down the street anyway, so or you know of them, or somebody you know knows them, and they're going to go back to, it's very like gossipy,
Yeah,
it's very clicky. But yeah, in a place like London, I don't know, you can literally just walk down the street. You still get connections from people. People still say hello. Go to a pub, you still talk to someone. Like, it's not like this. Yeah, but I guess when I first moved here, I was a bit worried that it was going to be like this thing where everyone's siloed and focusing on themselves totally, and like you'd never be able to connect with anybody. But that's not necessarily true, I don't think. But I just like the idea of nobody cares what you're doing as long as you don't care what they're doing, and it allows freedom to be yourself more than anything. It just allows you the freedom to do what you want to do on a daily basis without the fear of judgment. And I think from where I come from, there's always been that background fear of judgment. Like I said, when I first started rapping, all my friends thought I was crazy. If I first started rapping in London, nobody would care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that. Like, there's always that. It just kind of like removes the fear of judgment. And I don't know, maybe it's a fear that you shouldn't really hold, but it's always been ingrained in me. I don't know whether that's because of where I'm from or my upbringing or whatever, but yeah, it's just freeing. The feeling of being anonymous is just freeing to me. I just feel like I'm me, and that's fine, and nobody cares, and that's good.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I'm kind of come from a sort of similar sort of pathway. I mean, I grew up in a sort of small town, and you know, in my 20s, I would have lived in Buenos Aires in Argentina, which is a massive city, and all the things you just said. Then you have that freedom as well. But I think the other things that I think sometimes good for is to toughen you up, because you kind of think, I'm not just like you said. I'm not in a small town. Everyone know you. If you've got a band, everyone knows it, and I'll go and see that. It's almost, and at times, I don't know how you feel the same way, but you can feel like, you're just here because you know a friend of a friend of a friend. Whereas
100%.
To conquer it in somewhere like London, that's a big metropolis, you've got to toughen up. You can't just wilt and go, you know, and hide. You've got to, you know, which I think is good for you. It's good preparation basically for life.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, life is tough. It is. There's no getting around it, really. It's quite a hard thing to deal with, I think, for anyone. So yeah, having the opportunity to toughen up is good, always. I agree with you totally. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, how did you find, again, just on this one before we sort of leave this point, how did you find London through lockdown? Because when you're looking at it from afar, obviously, you know, you don't sort of see the actual reality that it's like on the streets. You're seeing images of like, you know, empty streets and you know, I mean, was it literally like that, where you could walk down the street and there was no cars?
Yeah, it was really strange. Like really strange. I mean, I spent a lot of time just indoors. I'm lucky enough to live with like one of my best mates. Like, he was already here, and then I moved. We got like a flat together. So, but yeah, when you go outside, it was literally empty streets. And I mean, not like something like 28 days later or whatever, but like, like there's still cars and buses, and you know, but yeah, like nobody's going to work. I guess so. That kind of, and there's no tourists. We went into central London one day, and it was like, because like I visited London a lot, like through my younger years and teen years. I was actually born here, so I lived here for the first 3 years of my life. But yeah, went into central London, nobody about, like no tourists. You could go anywhere and there's, yeah, there's space. You're not like walking down the street like this. I remember one time I went to Oxford Street, like shopping on my 19th birthday, and you literally couldn't walk down the street. There was like people. But in lockdown, all the shops are closed, you know. It's just empty. It's strange, but yeah, that's how it was for sure. Empty place.
And did you find that a almost like a hotbed for writing lyrics and raps and stuff like that, or did you? I mean, because that's what I'm saying. Because what we've got to sort of comprehend, and I think maybe as life progresses further on, we're going to really look back and think this was the most unreal time in a in my lifetime completely. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
The idea
yeah.
of you can walk down the streets and they're empty. You still see the same architecture and the same. I personally found it really productive creatively. Like I said, because you're just seeing this whole. It's like the veil of life has gone off, and it's just like wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt about that.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. Yeah. You can take it in. You're not eyes to the floor, getting where you need to go. You're looking up. There's no one around. You know, yeah, like you say, the architecture's there still. It's quite beautiful in a sense. When it's not filled with the hustle and bustle of, you know, modern day Western civilization. It's yeah, it's quite impressive, quite nice to look up and look at the buildings, and yeah, 100%. And it was very productive creatively. Like, yeah, like I said, there's no reason for me to not sit in my room, which is where I create music all day, because I'm not going to work. I'm not having to, you know, fulfill these. I don't know the word that I'm looking for. Yeah, the tick boxes. Yeah, the tick boxes of life. Yeah, I'm not having to do that right now. I can focus on what I want to do and what I love to do, which was really good. Yeah, I made like a lot of music. I learned a lot about production in terms of like actually like making music on my laptop and stuff. And like, yeah, I think I benefited from it 100%. Also gave me a lot. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go carry on, my friend. Go on.
I just it gave me a lot of time to like reflect on what I actually wanted to do with music as well, like, or what I wanted to say in music. Because I said HNOODLE's always been an experiment, but I reflected on that a lot. I don't think I really realized that until lockdown. Really, like, it always has just been like, there's no sound, there's no vision. I'm just gonna do this, blah blah blah. But I actually want personally to have a message. I've got something to say, and I want to just hone in on that musically and talk about it and express it through music. Like, yeah, so a lot of reflection time too, which is a good thing for me.
Okay, so again, I just want to sort of go back a step before we. So you said that all day, and you found it good to create. Okay, this is a black and white question or an analog question. Do you create through the daytime or at night or any time?
Mainly through the day, but that, I guess that's just because I live in a flat, so I like to have stuff loud when I'm making stuff. So yeah, I can't really do. I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll write lyrics in the night. I'll find it a lot easier to write lyrics in the night. But I almost kind of hate it when I get like, because I'll get like that. I don't know if you feel the same, but like a 3 a.m. or something, like burst of creativity, and I want to do something. Or I've got this idea for like making a beat, or I don't know, making a tune. But it's kind of not possible because of, yeah, noise or whatever. But yeah, that's when I go to like writing lyrics, writing an idea, writing feelings down. Well, but yeah,
that's one of the more maybe a constraint I don't have as an artist. If I feel creative at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can just get me. There's no noise involved.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
again, it's something we've been talking about, you know, between me and you. But I don't know if you want to sort of speak upon this, but you sort of said you just alluded to then you found the time to reflect, and it kind of made you want to focus and hone in on what you do. And you sort of alluded to me about you want to sort of take it to a new direction. I mean, do you want to sort of speak upon what your new direction is going to be and where you're sort of thinking that path's going to go?
Yeah. So yeah, along with HNOODLE being an experiment, I think it was always like a character as well. I've always, which is fine. Like I don't know, I'm into bands like Slipknot, for instance. They obviously play characters, they wear masks on stage and stuff like that. I love that. Yeah, yeah, our demon, exactly. Yeah, I love that side of it. But for me, it's, I don't know. I think I've over like the years put like pressure on myself for some reason, to the point where I've just kind of got sick of the idea of HNOODLE, because it kind of doesn't reflect me anymore. It reflects me 6 years ago more than it does now. And I just want to lay it all out on the table as me, because I feel more comfortable as me now. I think that's kind of where it comes from. But yeah, so I kind of just want to just stop HNOODLE, end it, and say that's an end of an era. That's a nice, just like the band ended all long years back. And yeah, push in a different direction, musically, lyrically, with a message and with a name change, which I just want to go with my legal name, Ben. I just want to be just Ben, and that again adds to the fact that I just want to be me. I'm just going to show you me as a musician. This is me. There's no character. There's no nothing. I'm just Ben, and I'm making music, and this is what I've got to say.
Okay, so again, we're going full circle, because you know, you've got that bravery inside you, because that's a brave move to do, my friend, is to strip it down and go, I'm not just part of a collective, I'm putting myself completely out there and expressing what I'm doing. So it's cathartic on one level, but it's a very brave step you're taking there, man, which I have all respect for.
Thank you, man. Yes, I appreciate that. Again, like I say, like I appreciate you saying that it's brave, but to me, like I was saying before, it doesn't feel brave. It just feels like a need. And this is what I'm going to, I don't know. It's like, this is what I was put on this planet to do, to give you this. This is me. And then once I've done that, then I'm happy. I'm free.
Exactly. And ultimately, yeah. if you boil it all down to, my friend, that's all it's about. It's just you. I mean, in this life, there is only just you, and there's just me, and we, you know, you can, and that's what I respect. That's one of the things I'm drawn towards any creative person, whether it's an author, an artist, a musician, anyone that will put themselves, and I know it's the wrong word to use in some ways, brave, but anyone will put their heart and their soul and say, this is me. Because ultimately that is it. We're on this short little ride. You know, your ride is your ride alone. It's your life. Your life is your life. It's not my life. And to do that in that time, it's like you said. It's that urge of the. And again, maybe it's the same. I think this is where the musician and the artist and we're all on the same sort of page. You feel like like you said, you have to do it, and you're just leaving something behind. And I'm sure if I talk to you in a year's time, you'd be like, "Yeah, well, I'm on something new now," because that's
probably, yeah, and that's how it goes, 100%. But yeah, I think it's like for me personally, I just want to be. I keep reiterating this point, but I'm just literally me. I'm going to be me, and that's defiantly. That's it. This is what you get. There's no character to hide behind. For myself as well, I can't hide behind anything. There you go. Which feels freeing to me when I'm writing the stuff as well, and like making the stuff. It's like, oh, the only question I'm asking myself is, am I being me? Is this me in this moment? And that's like cool for me. To me personally, that makes me feel good. So
on this, where you are now, have you got a kind of body of work, and it's a case of editing that down, or is it just starting off and think, okay, I'm going to build it up? Where you the process?
Well, I've got like around probably in total like ideas around like two or three albums worth of music. Like,
Whoa, dude.
like it's some of it's finished, some of it's not finished, some of it's in the idea stage, some of it's like full songs. But yeah, this is what I've been working on. I haven't really put music out in like 2 years. I've just been working on this idea, and then trying new things and creating, and and getting used to asking myself that question of, is this me? That took a while to like, but yeah, I've made a lot of music, and I'm almost ready to start unleashing it, I guess.
And so, what is your plan? I mean, are you kind of going to put an album out, an EP out, or are you just going to drip these out as like just single? Well, not single, but individual songs.
I think I'm gonna start. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of like building up a little team of people, you could call it, as well, like behind the scenes. So I'm like working with a guy I met at uni who's like a really sick mix and masterer who like understands the vision totally, which is nice. He just lets me create, and he makes it sound how I want it to sound. But yeah, I'm just gonna start with singles or like individual songs, which will probably allude to an EP or two, which then eventually turns into an album. Yeah, I think that's the plan for now.
And taking it out live, is that part of the thought process?
Yeah, 100%. That's what. Yeah, that's yeah. And it's gonna be probably just me on stage, but it's not gonna just be a mic. I'm gonna probably incorporate instruments in that, some live effects and stuff. Just kind of working on that as well.
Nice. So does this mean then? Because I mean, I'm sure when you speak to them, I've been kind of flying the flag, but maybe even in the HNOODLE days, I was saying to the Seeding Demons, you need to have the HNOODLE on with you at some point. You know? So is this gonna? Do you think this is good? My dream could finally happen. We could actually see Ben, what you are now, and the Demons. Is that something that we can aim towards?
Absolutely, yeah, I would love that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think this would kind of be a bit more in line with that as well, with what they're doing in terms of like, maybe not sound wise, but they're like very emotional. I don't know. Yeah, it's 100%. Basically, is the answer to that question.
I mean, on that one, I mean, obviously that's like we started this conversation off. That's where I first, when me and you first met. There was in Stockton. We were at a little riverside bar.
Yeah.
It was for people like it was my very first time ever. I mean, we go back to sort of thing. Maybe one of the early themes of this conversation when you talk about depression and stuff, and that was the first time I kind of really put myself out there and said, okay, right, rather than just sitting around this, because it's particularly as an artist, you can sit in your little room and just paint around, and the people like your images. You haven't got to put yourself out there. So that was the first time we ever met. But how did you first find out about the Seeding Demons?
I can't actually remember. Quite possible, probably online. But I think we played like maybe like a festival in Darlington together, and I checked them out. I can't remember totally, but I don't know. I remember specifically actually seeing a performance and being like, wow, like this is unreal. I haven't seen anything like this in the local scene ever. Like, this is amazing. Like, I love this. And I love their chemistry together on stage, and like how, they put it all out there. That's what I love in a performer and performance. And so, yeah, I think I probably just spoke to them after that, and we kind of just clicked quickly, probably because we're quite similar, I think, in ways.
I think you're completely correct in that one. I think there's a lot of similarities between you two, because I think it's the same. It alludes to the same thing. I think you've rightly sort of spoken upon. It's that when you're in that small scene, there are a lot of similar feelings between a lot of creative people, because you can feel a bit constrained. So I do pick that up about you're on the same sort of page as the twins and stuff like that. I think it's like I said, it's my. I mean, I've been away with them for a tour for a weekend, and honestly, I've been banging the drum like, you've got to get playing with Ben at some point. Man. Come on, make my dream come true, man. Make my dream come true. Well, Ben, before we do sort of wrap this up, there's a couple of things. Where can people, if they want to reach out to you and find out what, or even just sort of like follow what you're, like you said, your new path and stuff. Where can people sort of reach out and follow this?
Probably best place would be Instagram. Right now it's at HNOODLE without the $, but still with the V. Yeah, follow that. But yeah, I'm working on. Working on like a website as well to go along with all of this stuff. So I guess that's probably a good place. But I haven't got the domain yet for that.
Okay.
But yeah, just there. Instagram, yeah, just the social medias for now. But I guess Spotify as well. We're going to be putting things out. I'm going to be putting things out on Spotify under the name Ben. So, which is going to be again hard to find because there's millions of Bens in the world. I don't know why I did this to myself, but yeah, I guess just the social medias, Instagram, Facebook. Just search it up. Search HNOODLE, and there'll be more information on there once I switch it around. It'll be all linked on there. So.
And the other thing was, there's a couple of things just before we do just wrap this up. And one of the things I love, again, just you put out this recently on your Facebook page, and you said, ma'am, I'm going to be the biggest. I'm going to make it big in the music industry. And I love that. I love that confidence, not self-arrogance, but I love that drive you've got. And
yeah,
I'm fascinated to see where you go with this new direction, because one of the things I've always, I've said this to you privately, but I find very inspiring about you as a human being is that you're not afraid to, like we discussed in this conversation, go from being a metal hardcore drummer to an acoustic writing lyrics, HNOODLE to, and I love that. I think it's something I really respect, because it's easy to become cynical about, and you sort of see bands and they literally just go, or musicians or anyone creative, and they just go, okay, I found my niche and I'm just going to carry on that niche because it's easy. I can, you know what I mean? And I really respect that. And well, anything I can ever do to help that and raise awareness or anything from my angle, just give me a shout, Ben, because I honestly find it truly inspiring that you've got for want of a better word, the balls to get out there and do that stuff. That's, you know what I mean? That takes a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, I equally find you inspiring when I first seen you perform, and you were on stage with the Demons then, weren't you? You were live painting to the music. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever as well. Like, I'd never seen that. They just, Ceiling Demons and you and like their whole outfit has just kind of expanded, and it's always very impressive.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was kind of like, for whatever reason it didn't happen, but it was like ironic that I was asking the twins about what was their favourite show of the tour, and they said the London gig. Now, the London gig is a bit weird, right, because I literally got to about 2/3 way through the gig. I just walked off stage and started mixing amongst the crowd.
Oh, right, okay.
So, do you know what I mean? But the more fascinating, funny thing about that, do you know what I mean, was the fact that I went outside of the actual pub, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the looks of people on the street, and I'm walking around with a mask on.
Amazing.
I wish I had a camera for that shit, though, because people are like,
oh my God, that's sick.
But it's like I said, man, I personally feel that we're, I can't name the channel. We're on the cusp of something very big. I really do. I think there's a new. That's been inspiring to me. There is people like you, and there are people out there that really putting their balls on the line for this stuff. And I do think it's going to this is a very great time to be living in. One of these great, these are the greatest days to live in. And despite all the darkness and the dystopic stuff, and there's a lot to get depressed by in the world, but equally. We're alive in this great time of human history, which is
absolutely
a beautiful thing to be, man. So
definitely.
Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking forward to the day that me and you get on stage together at some point. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's going to be a tick box for my life. But like I say, it's been absolute pleasure talking to you, Ben. I'm saying we could carry on for, we have to come back and do this, sort of pick these points up and carry on at another point. But before we do finish this off, I just want to say, I'm going to leave the last word to you, my friend.
Yeah, create, do your thing, be you, don't be scared, always just be you. That's it. That's what I want to tell people. Be you. And thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed this conversation a lot, so thank you.
Beautiful. Well, life is people.
For sure.
Well, they say that life is people, and that people are angels, and that angels are devils, and the devils are me and you.